I just wanted to give you some updated news on the Fantastic Four film that will be coming out soon from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And as WandaVision brings more excitement to this universe, a lot of people are wondering what's going to happen to Marvel's original family. And we know they're coming to the big screen. Kevin Feige introduced them and name checked the super team at the San Diego Comic Con in 2019, which is over 2 years ago now. So this has been in development for a long time. The studio is making a new Fantastic Four movie, and it's going to be helmed by John Watts, who was the director of Spider Man Homecoming and Far From Home. Now, John Watts is a great director and he has a lot of experience with Marvel, so I'm sure he's going to be the one to put Fantastic Four in the right place on the big screen. There was a lot of speculation about the Fantastic Four and whether they were going to be introduced in the WandaVision series. A lot of fans on Twitter and Reddit thought that Reed Richards was going to be introduced by Monica as a scientist to help out fight Wanda, but that didn't turn out to be the case. And as of today, there's no words on casting, but a lot of fans have been calling for John Krasinski to play Reed and his wife Emily Blunt to play Susan, and that seems like a great pair up considering they've already been on screen on The Quiet Place and they're used to these type of big movies, and of course they have a good relationship. As a fan, I don't think anyone expected the Fantastic Four this soon. However, it did make sense for an investor meeting that Disney wanted to show off all these amazing characters that they had. At one moment, when I was watching this back in 2019, I thought they were going to close with X-Men, but I'm guessing they are keeping that bullet for another event just to add more hype to the actual studio. But the Foxmen, people call them, are still relatively fresh in people's heads. There's been a lot of Fox movies coming out recently over the past few years. And when the Fantastic Four came out in 2015, it flopped massively. And it's almost been a decade since we had the Chris Evans Fantastic Four. So it'll be incredibly easy for Disney to show how they can improve that family of characters way better than Fox ever did. There's been some speculation on Reddit whether they want Johnny Storm to be introduced as a friend of Peter Parker's, because in the comics they're obviously very good friends, and a lot of people on Reddit have been saying that it would be really fun if Johnny was introduced as Peter Parker's roommate in college. But then people touch on Doctor Doom, and they want Doctor Doom to be portrayed brilliantly in the MCU, because in the past he's been ruined by Marvel, and as a character, a lot of the fans want him to establish himself, let him breathe. In terms of plots for the Fantastic Four movie, there was a really good idea I saw recently where they take the 1960s Fantastic Four and thrust them into modern day. Imagine them being trapped in the quantum realm and they still act like it's the 1960s, which gives them an excuse to use modern day phrases like it's clobbering time. That would sit quite nicely in the modern day MCU version. Because a lot of these characters were created in the 1960s, the MCU doesn't really have anything from that time period that's explored in the modern day cinema. So it would be fun to do something like that and thrust them forward in time if they were to do some time travel thing. Because now we're obviously establishing the quantum realm and the multiverse, which would give them a lot of excuses to act differently to the way other characters like Tony Stark or Captain America act in the MCU today. And also there's a theory that Reed Richards, and this contradicts the last theory, that he was actually part of the MIT student group that Tony gave during Civil War, which would have been a nice little Easter egg if that's how Kevin Feige wanted to introduce him as a character. A theory I'm in most support of that I read on Reddit was Franklin Storm, who is Johnny and Susan Storm's father. He was a part of S.H.I.E.L.D. in the early days, and he was just scratching the surface of quantum technology with Hank Pym and Howard Stark. Now, Stark pushed these teams to go further and be bolder with their experiments. Franklin's protege, Reed Richards, his daughter Susan, his hotshot test pilot son Johnny, and their S.H.I.E.L.D. bodyguard Ben Grimm were all present during a test run of the project, but all four of them vanished when the machine malfunctioned. And Franklin Storm spends the rest of his life trying to rescue his children from thin air, and Pym became disillusioned with S.H.I.E.L.D. and the disaster drove a wedge between him and Stark. Going on to the character of Doctor Doom, a lot of people think that he should be treated similar to Loki. There's a depth to his character, and he's not always good or bad. except a lot of people don't want Doom to lack the true villain quality. He should be the next Thanos, and if Kevin Feige and the team at Marvel managed to define him well in this movie and interweave him throughout future movies, he could be the greatest villain in the MCU. Whenever I see people talk about Doom online, they always refer to him as an anti Stark, which is someone they turn to because they ignore Stark's request to build a shield around the world. And then Doom becomes worse and worse until he needs to be stopped. And we've already seen this touched upon in Spider Man, where Vulture has all these alien technology and he creates a team of his own and he becomes a minor but still crucial villain for Peter Parker. I think that when Fantastic Four comes out, it'll be the movie I'm most excited to watch out of any Marvel film. Growing up, I was a massive fan of the Chris Evans Fantastic Four films, and because they've managed to create Thanos and portray Thanos so well on the big screen, they're going to do great with The Thing and Ben Grimm and making him look brilliant. A lot of people have been thinking that Andrew Lincoln would be a great Rick Grimes, and a lot of people can also see him as Reed, but he doesn't give off that aura of intelligence that Reed should. So a lot of people think that John Krasinski is the number one candidate, and obviously Emily Blunt with him as well. Either way, the movie's going to come out brilliant, and I can't wait to watch it.